What can you do to improve your listening skills in English? When it comes to mastering the English language, one of the most challenging abilities to acquire is listening, and this is particularly true for beginning students. Continue reading if you are having difficulty mastering this vital skill even after reading this far. I'm going to show you some common errors that individuals do while they're learning to listen to English, as well as some practical ways to enhance your listening skills in English. Why is it so important to have good listening skills while learning English? Listening is often regarded as the very first ability that should be taught to students of English, followed by speaking, reading, and writing respectively. The process of acquiring a second language benefits greatly from attentive listening. It also has the potential to influence how well the other three abilities are developed. Hearing noises is the foundation for the acquisition of many other abilities, much to how infants first learn their mother language. If you don't listen, you won't get any input. If you don't take anything in, your brain won't have anything to store. And this implies that when it comes to speaking, nothing will come out, also known as there will be no output. Therefore, there is nothing you can do if you do not listen. Definitely. Since you are now aware of the significance of having good listening skills while learning English, you have made the decision to begin practicing this ability as soon as possible. However, how? It makes perfect sense to investigate some of the most typical difficulties encountered throughout the education process in order to discover the most effective approaches to listening. There are 5 reasons why you are having difficulty with your English listening skills. Your ability to develop your listening abilities is hindered by a variety of reasons, including those listed above. Here are the 5 most important reasons. 1. Limited vocabularies. It is likely that the absence of words in English is the primary cause of your inability to completely comprehend what you are hearing. Because words are the building blocks of languages, there is nothing that can be accomplished in a world without words. If there are a significant number of terms that are foreign to you, the information that is being presented to you may be difficult to comprehend. Another scenario, which is even more detrimental to you, is one in which you are familiar with the vocabulary but are unable to understand what the words mean while you are listening to them. In most cases, this occurs because you learn new words via your eyes rather than through your hearing. You have only acquired knowledge of the term in its written form, but you are unaware of its pronunciation. In addition, there are instances in which you are familiar with the phrases, but since you do not encounter them very often, you are unable to identify them right away. Instead, you often need several pauses in order to retrieve memories about the words. And after that, you understand that you are still stranded there, despite the fact that the listening session finished a minute earlier. 2. You make an effort to comprehend each and every word. This is a flawed mentality that practically everyone has. Students of English sometimes hold the misconception that they need to be completely familiar with each and every word in order to comprehend a whole listening passage. When listening, if you make an effort to comprehend each and every word being said, and you come across a term you are unfamiliar with, you have a tendency to pause for a few moments and ponder, which disrupts the flow of your hearing. Because your mind is preoccupied with what has occurred, you will be unable to pay attention to the remainder of what is being spoken. It's a mistake that a lot of people who are learning English make all the time. If you want to learn English or any other language, you have to come to terms with the reality that there will always be new words that you aren't going to completely comprehend the first time you hear them. This is true whether you're learning English or any other language. Agree? How do you plan to handle this situation? You are without a doubt capable of comprehending the offered message on the basis of the keywords, the previous background knowledge, and the language context. That is to say, in order to grasp what is being said to you by hearing, it is not necessary for you to be able to know the meaning of each and every word. 3. Unfamiliar grammatical structures. You are studying English as a second language, which means that the grammatical structures of English are completely foreign to you. Because it is different from what you are accustomed to in your own language, you won't know it very well. Even if grammar isn't the first thing that you should focus on while learning English, it still has a role to play in listening. Listening might be challenging if you are not familiar with the rules of grammar. If you are just starting off, you'll find it much more challenging. Because you aren't acquainted with the structure of the words, phrases, and sentences, you can have trouble understanding what is being said throughout the listening. Let's take a basic example. You must be familiar with the phrases long, airport, take, and how, don't you think? Consider the following scenario if they are assembled in this way. How much time does it take to go to the airport from your location? Even if you are familiar with all of the terms in this statement, if you are unable to grasp the structure, how long does it take to do something, you will not be able to comprehend what it is trying to communicate. The ears are the organs responsible for processing language when one listens to anything. When you listen to anything, you take on the role of an active information receiver. You do not have any notion what will occur after this. How can you possibly comprehend or have a complete comprehension of the provided message if you are not proficient in the organizational structures of that language? 4. Dialects with varying accents. The globe has been less closed off recently. The phrase, global English, should be changed to world Englishes, since every nation has its own distinctive way of pronouncing the language. According to the findings of certain studies, 66% of English language learners believe that accents are one of the most significant variables that influence listening. It's possible that two distinct people from the same location might pronounce the same word in two completely different ways. If you speak American English, it will be difficult for you to understand Indian English or any of the other accents spoken by people who are not natural English speakers. The reason for this is that you are unable to recognize the sounds. Alternatively, even when you are able to distinguish the noises, it takes you some time to think about what it means. As a result, your communication may be slowed down. 5. Insufficient familiarity with the relevant history. The term background knowledge refers to a grasp of a wide range of subject areas, including the sciences, culture, economics, politics, religions, and the arts, amongst others. Knowledge of other cultures is the single most significant factor because of the profound impact it has on communication. Have you ever been in a scenario where you could hear every sound being made in a discussion, yet you still were unable to comprehend the person who was speaking? The difference in cultures is to blame for this situation. Language and culture are inextricably linked. Without one another, it is impossible for them to continue existing. Not only may differences in culture lead to misunderstandings in listening, but they can also manifest themselves in other facets of the English language. Understanding of one's own cultural context is an important component of effective English listening. It's possible that you'll speak to folks from a variety of diverse backgrounds. Your level of familiarity with their culture will have an effect on how you grasp the message that you have picked up from listening. The topics discussed in listening materials might pertain to any facet of life. The ability to anticipate outcomes and comprehend meaning is facilitated when listeners have prior context information.